Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our Everyone Can Create Teacher Guide webinar, where we're looking at the Everyone Can Create Teacher Guide. So this is part 5 of a series of events we've been looking at, which will become more clear as we go through. So let's start with the plan. So we're going to talk about Everyone Can Create Teacher, which is the guide that talks through what the different books have to offer. We are going to have a little bit of a discussion about that and think about some possible next steps for yourselves. So before we do that though, let's introduce ourselves. So my name is Tim Lings and I'm Director of Digital Learning here at Heronsgate Primary School, and I'm joined by my two illustrious colleagues. So I've got in the middle on the screen, I don't know what order on Zoom you are, but we've got...
Hi there, Ralph Corrish, Year 5 teacher here at Heronsgate, Apple teacher, and helping Tim with all things computer-based at Heronsgate.
Hi, I'm Andrew Barnshaw. I'm a Year 2 teacher here at Heronsgate Primary School, part of the computing team as well. Yep, Apple teacher.
Wonderful. And this webinar is hosted by the Greenwich Apple Regional Training Centre. So if you want some updates, please do follow us on Twitter. Now, Apple Regional Training Centres, there's about 70 of them across the UK and Ireland, and we deliver courses to build the skills and confidence of educators using Apple technology inside and outside the classroom. We're a community who share best practice and inspire excellence through teaching with Apple technology. So everyone can create. Do you like my lovely gradients there, demonstrating the 4 different disciplines that make up Everyone Can Create? We've got music, drawing, photography, and video. And to accompany these books, we have the Everyone Can Create Teacher Guide, which basically goes through the different disciplines and then suggests how you can integrate these ideas into your curriculum. So here we go. That's what we're going to be thinking about today, the Everyone Can Create Teacher Guide. Now, if you would like to read this, there is a book on the Apple bookstore. So if you just kind of search for it, or you can follow a link that I'm about to bring up on the screen. Here we go. Everyone Can Create, right, here we go. Everyone Can Create Teacher Guide, as he quickly copies it from somewhere else, opens up the chat screen. Says, okay, Zoom's having a moment. Here we go. So I'm going to paste it in the chat, and you can then follow this link if you're on some form of Apple device, and it will take you to the Apple bookstore. So if you want to have a look at that. So let me just show you this book. So I'm going to open up the Books app on this iPad, and here I've got Everyone Can Create, and you can see we've got these 4 different books: music, drawing, photo, and video, which go through different activities you can use to teach the disciplines of drawing, the discipline of music, etc. And then the teacher guide, it takes those ideas and then suggests ways that they can be used to integrate across the curriculum. So as you can see, they go through the different areas, and then within them, you've got the same chapter headings as you'll find in the book. So for example, we looked at Doodle art in our very first session, and then it just goes through the kind of big picture, the big task within that book, and then some suggested integration ideas. And then it repeats. So that basically keeps doing that all the way through with all of the suggested activities. It suggests how you might integrate them into maths, English, science, history, etc., etc. So it really is just a rich resource of ideas that you can draw on. So to go through this, what we're going to do is we're basically going to work our way through the 4 different disciplines and then suggest or show you, kind of model what that might look like with some of the ideas. So I'm going to hand over to Mr. Andrew Barnshaw, who's going to look at photos. So
Super, thanks Tim. Let me just share my iPad screen here. I'll share the wrong screen. Oh. Second. There we go. So yes, as Tim said, I'm going to be talking about photos, and you can get much more detail in the Everyone Can Create photo book here. One of the thing I'm going to be demoing today is actually the collage composition, which is in the book. I believe it's page 13. Find it here. I did do this much quicker earlier. Yeah, so I'm going to be showing you how this works. Now, I'll show you the finished product and show you how we're going to get there. So this was actually what we did today in our science lesson. And the children created, this was their finished product. They were categorizing things they found in the playground into living, never alive, and dead. And the way we did this to begin with, this was a large piece of sugar paper that we had on each desk, and the children would put these pictures into where they thought they would go. And that was at the very beginning of the lesson, which is why some of the things are probably not in the correct place. And then the second part of the lesson, we went outside and they took pictures. And that's where this collage composition skill comes into play. So before the lesson started, I took a picture of a blank sugar paper here, and I put that into a Keynote file, which I will show you. So I'll go choose a theme, and I'll just take the basic white theme here, and I can delete off all of these boxes because I don't need them. Now I'm going to add in that picture of the blank sugar paper as a table. There we go. I'm going to get the size in just about right so it takes up the page. Now, at this point, I took this Keynote and I uploaded it to Shobi so that the children could download it again later in the lesson, so they could use that as their template document to put their pictures onto. So at this point in the lesson, we went outside, the children took pictures of lots of different things they found. We came back in, and then this is when I would show them how to add those pictures on top of these, on top of this Keynote file. So very much in the same way that I got this picture as a background, they would go to plus, photo or video. And these are some pictures that I've taken. So let's pick this heron here. And of course, that is not a real heron. It's a metal statue. So we would put that in the never alive section. And I encourage the children to explore the paintbrush and adding borders, just to give it a bit more style. Which one? I like this one myself. Just make it a bit bigger. So that's a picture on top of a picture, or a collage. Let's add one. Let's add one for each section while we're here. Here's some pictures of some logs which are dead. And then let's select that. Let's get a border on that one as well. I've got a bit of OCD myself, so I like to make sure I have the same style on each. Let's add in another picture for living. Now, this one's a bit tricky to see, but there's definitely at least one goldfish in our pond, the orange one right in the middle there. It was easier to see in person. Let's get the border on that one there. There we go. So the children would have been using Keynote and following those steps exactly as I've done. And when they had finished, they would share the Keynote file back up to Shobi, which is our online learning platform, which some of you probably would have seen in the previous sessions. And at that point, I can look at them later in the day and see if they've put the right pictures in the right place. So that is specifically the collage composition part of the Everyone Can Create photo. There was just a couple of quick photos I wanted to show you of other ideas you can use just using the photo. So this was a geography lesson we did earlier in the week, and the children had their Logitech crayons. I uploaded these pictures of different landmarks and cities and towns in the UK, and they would annotate straight on the picture some of the physical features and some of the human features they could see on the picture. So that was really useful. And then this was an art project we did earlier in the term. This one's not been annotated because we did a written piece, but you could, of course, use this as an evaluation. They could write on the side what they think went well, what they could do better. Yeah, so they could use it as an evaluation piece. As I say, we didn't do it with this one, but that is another option you could do with photos and using the markup tool in photos. In fact, why don't I show you that while I'm here? So I've got my Apple Pencil here. I'm going to click on Edit and then click on the markup tool. And then I can select any pen I like. And I might say, I think this went well. So it's just an example of what the children might do, and then they can always label it. and then they can press done, and then they could upload that, and that could be part of their evaluation piece. And I think that just about wraps up my section for photo. The previous section for Everyone Can Create Photo, we went into a lot more depth with the collage composition, and we also explored some other things you can do with photo and using everyday objects in photo, and that's on the YouTube video, which I'm sure we'll share a link to at the end. Otherwise, I think that wraps up my part. Unless we have any questions, I'll hand back to Tim.
Super, thank you very much. I'm just going to take over the screen. Is it
No
good?
problem.
There we go. Okay, super. So Andrew mentioned about the YouTube channel. So this is a YouTube recording that we've from the webinar we did in the autumn term. So we're just going to play a little section. You can see me. Well, like good afternoon, everybody. Like a session within a session, and everyone's blowing their brains. Okay, so so you can watch that to learn a bit more about those specific skills, and then you can use the teacher guide to apply them. So this is just a little bit about why it matters that photography helps develop those observational skills, and it allows students to see things differently, tell creative stories, as well as building those classification and categorization skills. So this is just an example of those integration ideas to do with that very first kind of everyday object section. For example, up in science, looking up close to kind of annotate objects that you're looking at. So just some ideas there. So next we're going to look at doodle art. So this was part of Everyone Can Create Drawing, which again, we have a YouTube video, which you can access. Again, these will be, if you just search for Greenwich RTC, you can find our channel, or I will post the links out.
I'll post that in the chat now while you're doing your part, if you like.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to do that for us. Yeah, amazing. So keep your eyes peeled on the chat. And then again, it's just going to quickly load, but that's what it looks like. So the idea of drawing with doodles is it helps students think about visual information, think about information more visually and conceptually, helps them remember it, and they can communicate their thoughts and ideas while demonstrating understanding in an artistically clever way. So here we've got some integration ideas. We're going to have a little look at the literacy one. So there it's suggesting novel notes. So build reading comprehension by sketch noting whilst reading a piece of literature. Visually capture the big ideas, story elements, characters, and themes in the book. And we're going to give that a go. There's some more ideas there. So those are the ideas that you'd find in that teacher guide. So let's give that a go. So here in books, I was like, what should we look at? Well, it's been Christmas recently. So I thought, let's look at A Christmas Carol. A bit of Charles Dickens, bit of high literature. So I had a read through and I was like, aha, let's see what would happen if we could draw a lovely picture of Scrooge, or like a sketch note of the description of Scrooge. So I'm going to just split screen with a bit of notes here on the side. Let's just make a new note, and I'm going to tap on the markup button here. So let's check. Got a little Logitech crayon here that I've just turned off. Let's turn it back on. Here we go. Is that going to work? Yeah. Okay, fine. So we've got my little drawing tools here. And as I read, I'm going to draw. So this is, hopefully not too stressful for me, but this is fine. So we're going to start with Christmas Carol. Lovely. Christmas Carol. Lovely. And here we go. But oh, he was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone Scrooge, a squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinner. So I think I need to start drawing Scrooge here. Here we go. Here he is. He's not got very much hair. He's pretty miserable. And then we're going to say that we're going to describe him as his tight-fisted hand. So maybe I'll draw a little hand here with tight fist. He's not very happy. And then we're going to, perhaps you could use some words here. So we could say he's squeezing, or the fact that he is grasping, all these ideas. So we're just trying to explore these ideas, so clutching, all these words to describe him. So it's just helping us remember this text as we think about it. Hard and sharp as flint, from which no steel has ever struck out generous fire. Secret and self-contained and solitary as an oyster. I like that idea, is hard and sharp. So I'm going to try and like represent that with my drawing. Hard and sharp. Here we go. Let's just, maybe I'll thicken my pen here slightly to go over hard so it looks a bit more horrible. So just exploring different kind of pen textures to help describe this guy here. And solitary is an oyster. So maybe I'll draw a little oyster here with its shell open. Here we go. I know oysters don't have eyes, but I'm going to draw the oyster. So here we go. There's some of the words, secret and solitary. So I'm not saying this is the most amazing sketchnoting you've ever seen, but just it's quite fun as a way of really looking at that text, because you've got to pay attention to what it's saying. You know, it's and then as you turn that into drawing, it helps you really look at the text. So hopefully that's would be something that's worth exploring, and definitely having something to draw with definitely helps.
It's a masterpiece.
Thanks. I'm now going to hand over to you, Mr. Corish. So, but before I do that, let's just remind you that we have a lovely Everyone Can Create video on YouTube. So if you want to catch up with a bit more detail about that. And well, yeah, that's done that. Oh, so over to you, Mr. Corish, if you want to share your thoughts.
Thank you very much. So let's quickly just share my screen and let's have a little look. Hopefully. We see that, Mr. Lings?
Yeah, all good.
Perfect. Thank you. So we've done the Everyone Can Create video session already, like all of these, and we're just sort of honing it in, basically helping out and putting it in terms of a perspective for teachers and something that you could perhaps use in the classroom. And what I'm going to show you today, which is quite early on in the Everyone Can Create video section, and it's something related to maths, or math as it is hideously referred to here. But I'm going to focus on the I solved it section, as you can see there bottom left. And this is something we did in our maths lesson today. And it was create a clipped video explaining the solution to a challenging maths problem, adding music, filters, text and stickers for impact. So we were focusing at the moment in year 5 on fractions. And today the lesson was all about converting mixed numbers into improper fractions. And so what we did was towards the end, and what you can do, and you can do this on any sort of maths topic, to help the children, embed for the children the exact process of what to do. You can basically get them to create a sort of video, almost like a cartoon style, to get them to explain what they're doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you one of the ones that the children made earlier, and then I've sort of got another, a sort of mock one I've sort of just I can create for everyone now. So as you can see in clips, which we have done before, you can see the lovely ceiling there, but I'm just going to go into one of the messages so we don't have to bother looking at my classroom there. We have got how to convert mixed fractions to improper fractions. And the child in my class who made this added the music, added all of the sort of extra little bits on the side. So I'm going to just show you what they created, and then I'm going to just create another one very quickly just to show you the exact sort of process that it involves. So I'm just going to press play now and see how the child in my class explained this process. So there we go. That was what one of my children did this morning after completing their maths learning, to sort of try and explain how you would do it to perhaps someone who'd never done that before. Thank you for the round of applause, Mr. Lings. And so just very quickly, just remind you just the process of how we do that. I've got some, I've sort of got another maths concept that's similar to what we've been doing recently. And I'm just going to quickly show you how we would do that. So that is my face. We don't want that, clearly. So we've got here, if I just quickly, bear with me, just going to quickly turn the rotation lock off so that we don't have to keep doing that. And you can see here, I've got how to compare and order fractions. So I'm just going to start a new one, new project. Now, just to remind you with clips, that cable is rather irritating. I apologize. It's connected to my laptop so that I can show this. So I'm just going to move things along a tiny bit. And how to compare and order fractions. So I'm going to have to do it like that, annoyingly, because I've kept that rotated. So if I hold this down, I'm not going to do all of them, but I'm just going to do a couple just to show you how I created it. How to order fractions, and you hold it down. You can swipe it up, but that's fine. And it doesn't matter that I'm talking during this, because I can always, which I will do, mute the audio. So I'm going to now take that slide away, and I'm just going to add another one. All right, lovely. And I'll just do one more. I'm getting quite bored of saying the phrase that's on this slide, but the kids do seem to be getting it eventually. So just zoom in and out a little bit, just to add a bit of effect. And then, lovely. So as you can see here, we've got how to order and compare fractions. I can see for some reason that has done slightly, it's gone the wrong way. So I'm just going to delete that, delete clip, because that's wasn't quite what I wanted. I'm going to press done, and I'm going to quickly record it again. And the good thing is I can do that quite easily and then just move it to go into position I want. I accidentally swiped out part of compare there, but you get the gist. So if I now go on to here, you can see that that one is actually in the wrong position, but if I hold it down, I can move it along quite easily. Now, straight away, you can see that there's a mute button there, and that gets rid of my talking over it or any other background noise. Say it was in a classroom full of noisy children, you wouldn't want all of them being heard. And just to add an effect, straight away, you can go onto the music button and go onto my music. And I chose a playful piece for that. I think, oh, sorry, cancel, beg your pardon, it's soundtrack, sorry. I chose a playful piece because I just thought it worked quite well for explaining a maths, there it is, playful, a maths thing. I believe I chose, it could have been Curly Whirly. Yeah, it was, there you go. So we'll have that. And the best thing about clips is that that music carries on going for the entire duration. You don't have to keep putting it on. And then on the effects button, I've got lots of messages that you can adapt and edit. So straight away, breaking news, quite like that. I'm not going to change it. And lovely emoji. And then moving along to the next one, I can quickly add, I could add a filter perhaps. Didn't do that earlier. I didn't do that earlier on. So that will do. Perfect. And let's just add another emoji. And finally, if we go on here, effect. Before, and then we saw earlier I did a before and after with the children. So if I just quickly press play now on what I've created there, and you can see how it could go throughout the whole video. And it's a really, really good way in maths just to get the children to explain what they've learned and deepen their understanding. And also, when if you do it in pairs as well, if you get someone who's understood it quite well, working with someone that perhaps is still trying to get there, that process of going through the steps and getting them to record it is really, really helpful. And afterwards, they've normally understood the steps because they've made this video. So there we have it. That's just one little way in which we can use video to help us with our learning. In this case, maths, and that hopefully should give someone a little help into maybe doing something related to video. As we said, the book is on the App Store. Everyone can create video. Mr. Lings, I believe that is your cue to be over to you.
Super. Thank you, Ralph. That was fantastic. I love that clips video. That was really excellent. So final one, music, recording a podcast. So again, we had on our lovely YouTube channel, you will find a recording that will go through in much detail how to use some of the early chapters. Everyone can create music. It's more specifically about making a podcast. Good afternoon again. So why this matters? Because it allows students to practice thinking about communication in a risk-free environment. You know, they're not standing up in front of everyone trying to do this, and you can just make great audio using live loops. It's good fun. So one of the ideas here is innovative inventions. This is under history and social studies. So commemorate an important invention in history by creating a 30-second radio commercial. Describes the needs and challenges that led to the invention. Use sound effects or add a character preset to your voice to support the ad. Lovely. So we're going to give that a go. So GarageBand. Let's open up GarageBand. And I actually had a little try at making it earlier, but hopefully this shouldn't go too wrong. So I'm going to make a new recording. If I tap on the little microphone button at the top, it actually makes a new audio recording. And what's quite clever about this is it turns off the metronome, it makes it automatic length. So it kind of gets rid of all those steps that you have to remember to do. And to record this, I thought it might be quite fun to do it with one of these fun filters on. So you've got clean, which is just straight recording, or you could be a chipmunk or have a bit of vocoder. But instead, I'm going to put some telephone on because, you know, the electricity, well, the light bulb was invented a long time ago, and that is the invention I'm going to use. So I'm just going to pull up my little notes. So I wrote a little script here. Oh, that's a bit of Christmas Carol, the light bulb commercial. So I'm just going to record my voice first of all, and then I'm going to add a few loops, etc. So this is my little script, my little advert for the light bulb. Are we ready? So it's going to get a little count in, and then we can go from there. Fed up with having to go to bed and stop working when the sun goes down? Let me tell you about the amazing invention of the light bulb, powered by the newfangled power source called electricity. Invented by Thomas Edison with his carbon filament bulb in 1879. It's been lighting up the world ever since. Really, I'm lost in education. I should definitely go into marketing. So let's have a listen to that.
Fed up with having to go to bed and stop working when the sun goes down?
So that is already quite fun because it's got that, like, at least it was made in the 1970s or 60s or something. Okay, good. So I'm going to now add some live loops. I've got 3 little lines here, which takes me to the mixing desk kind of track view. Then I tap on live loops. So rather than just searching through everything, there are sound packs. You can download a seemingly endless collection of packs of cool sounds. For example, if you want some ultimate 808s, let's get a preview. Yeah, we don't need that, but there is a really good one called Toy Box, which has got all manner of great little crazy sound effects and stuff, which are particularly useful for podcasts, rather than just making your latest EDM hit. So I'm going to go on live loops, and I can filter by sound packs, and then we have some cool things along here. So we could go down. I'm just having a look down here. We've got people counting in different numbers. Maybe we could have a go at it. It's a bit of, this could be perhaps they're like, oh no, no, let's not do that. Let's, I think there's a wolf further down, which we could just pull out for fed up of going to bed. Let's try that. So let's see where we can slot that in the right place.
Fed up with having to go to bed and stop working when the sun goes down?
So I'm just going to split that at this point. So I tap on it here, split. There we go. And then I can just drag this along a little bit. We can add a little wolf whistle at this point. Ow. There we go. It sounds a bit hideous. I'll just turn my volume down. Okay, so what does that look? What does that sound like if we just play that?
Fed up with having to go to bed and stop working when the sun goes down? Let me tell you about the amazing...
So that already sounds quite cool. And let's add in amazing invention of electricity. And I'm pretty sure I found something that could be quite a good sound for electricity. Here we go. Let's just add that in here.
Let me tell you about the amazing invention of the light bulb, powered by the newfangled power.
And then I think there was some quite nice like pad that would be quite good. There we go. P that's before S. Planetarium pad. Quite like earth-shattering, kind of like this is going to change your life. So we just slot it in there, and then let's see what that sounds like.
Let me tell you about the amazing invention of the light bulb, powered by the newfangled power source called electricity. Invented by Thomas Edison with his carbon filament bulb in 1879, it's been lighting up the world ever since.
You know, I mean, I may not win any marketing awards, but you can kind of get the feel there that it's quite a fun way of taking what you've learned, history, and then turning it into this slightly more creative expression. There we go. Fantastic. Back to here. So we've had a little look at some of those integration ideas. Lovely. So at this point, I'm now going to hand it over to you as our participants, because I want to know from the 4 things we've shared, which do you think would work best in your classroom? So do you think the photo activity in science, maybe a bit of drawing in English, video maths question, or history? Just vote now. So there should be at least a couple of votes. Oh, it's very much spread at this point. Oh, one more person to vote. Is it going to be completely? Okay, it's pretty inconclusive. That's all I can say. So clearly my musical idea hasn't gone down quite so well, but that's fine. So basically, just it's interesting that all of these ideas, you know, they might capture your interest in different ways. And I think that's what's really excellent about Everyone Can Create is there's just it's basically a bank of ideas, both ideas of how you could learn how to do these skills. If you think, you know, I'm not very good at drawing, how could I get better? Or how do you use clips? And you can read and have those really clear step-by-step instructions about how to do a simple kind of task using that. But then it's how you can then integrate that into what you're doing. So at this point, we would love it if anyone would like to post something in the chat about anything you've learned from today, anything that you might, any kind of observations or comments about how they might be useful in the classroom. At this point, anything you'd like to add as well, Ralph or Andrew, about even just trying those out today?
I actually quite like, I really like the music piece you did at the end there, because where I'm in year 2, we don't spend much time on GarageBand. I think that app is a bit of a stretch for these children at the moment. So I've not had much exposure to it myself, but you made it look really simple. And actually, I think maybe they probably could do it. So yeah, I'm definitely going to give that a go in some lessons in the future.
Because even me just kind of looking at GarageBand and giving it a go, you know, as soon as you put that filter on and you just read out that little advert, it starts to evoke it, and you kind of,
yeah,
you can start going there. And I think a lot of these things is as you give it a try, you realize that actually worked much better than I thought, and the kids loved it, and it can help with that learning process.
And also you could then put that GarageBand audio into maybe an iMovie perhaps as well. So it could be a voiceover for something as well. So you could create the effect sort of on iMovie, but then adding that voiceover in from GarageBand as well, it could have double the impact.
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
and I think
I didn't know. I've never really thought about the collage thing that Andrew did. So actually, I quite enjoyed that. And actually, I think that could be translated up from years 1 all the way through up to year 6. I think that doesn't have to be limited to year 1.
And with all of these ideas, they very much are taking what you know and then using it in a way that you wouldn't expect. But when you actually try it, you're like, that makes complete sense. So definitely it's worth taking a read. In a sense, it's just a book with lots of text and ideas, and you've got to kind of work your way through it. But actually, as you do that, there's all kind of gems in there. So if you are wanting to find out a bit more, there is on the Apple Teacher site, there is some more information about Everyone Can Create. So maybe if I just demo that to you, I don't know if you're aware of Apple Teacher. So here we go. So I'll just visit appleteacher.apple.com. Now, what's nice about Apple Teacher is they have recently updated it, so you now don't need to sign in to view it. So you sign in if you want to start getting your badges and become an Apple Teacher, but there's a wealth of stuff that you can just look at anyway. So for you to look at inspiration, you've got, no, we don't want inspiration. Lesson integration, yeah, lesson integration. Everyone can create a review. So you just got all of the links to all the books are here. There's some intro activities, there's a design workbook, and these intro activities are great. So there's 30 creative activities for kids. So they've literally got one for every day of the week, how you can be that little bit more creative. And I think these were designed when it was lockdown and kids are at home, how you can do some of these creative ideas at home. But there's just a wealth of creative ideas of how to take technology and really make what's happening in the classroom that little bit different. Super. So yeah, just from the comments people have made, I'm glad to see that the GarageBand for history was a great idea. I mean, it's not my idea, but it is a great idea. And actually, do just look through those books. People have spent some good time finding those great ideas and sharing them. So that's all from us at the moment. We are starting a 2-part session looking at coding on iPad starting next month. We'll be looking at Swift Playground, but it's over 2 sessions and it's just a bit more of a deep dive rather than just skimming over the top for you to really get your head around how you can use Swift Playgrounds to code from kind of younger children and up. So do book in to find out more about that. And we'll be posting and recording this on YouTube shortly. And thank you very much for joining us. And we hope that you're able to join us for a future RTC webinar, or perhaps you're watching this on YouTube and you can subscribe, and maybe if I put it here, there we go. Click here to subscribe. Anyway, okay. Thank you very much, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.